On April 15, 2013, chaos erupted at the Boston Marathon finish line. Two homemade pressure cooker bombs detonated just seconds apart, killing 3 innocent people. The perpetrators were the brothers Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, radicalized immigrants from Chechnya. Tamerlan died during a frantic police shootout, but Dzhokhar was captured hiding in a boat, riddled with bullet wounds. Fast forward to 2015, Dzhokhar was sentenced to death for his role in the terror attack. Yet, after years on death row at the Supermax ADX Florence, he's shown no real remorse or rehabilitation, just a hollow apology in court that victims dismissed as insincere. His defiant attitude fuels controversy, painting him as an unrepentant danger to society. Family members claim he was a good kid, manipulated by his domineering brother. But is that the full truth? What twisted him into a monster? Why didn't anyone, friends, authorities, spot the red flags of radicalization before it was too late? During interrogation, Dzhokhar repeatedly asked if his brother was alive, hinting at deep control. Evidence points to Tamerlan as the ringleader, but was Dzhokhar just a pawn or equally culpable? What do you think, brainwashed victim or willing terrorist? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share this video with others who need to see it, and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime. Now let's dive into the full story. Now we're diving straight into the events of the bombing. It's crucial because it unravels the sequence of blasts and betrayal that shocked the nation, drawn from police logs and eyewitness accounts. April 15, 2013, 2:39 p.m. The Tsarnaev brothers, Tamerlan and Dzhokhar, stepped onto Boylston Street near the Boston Marathon finish line. Crowds cheered runners crossing the tape, the air thick with sweat and celebration. Tamerlan, 26, carried a backpack slung over his shoulder. Dzhokhar, just 19, trailed behind with his own load. They blended into the spectators, two faces in a sea of thousands. No one noticed the pressure cookers inside those bags, packed with nails, ball bearings, and gunpowder, homemade devices rigged for maximum shred. 9 minutes ticked by. At 2:48 p.m., Dzhokhar pulled out his phone and dialed Tamerlan. The call lasted seconds. Then, at exactly 2:49 p.m., the first bomb ripped through the sidewalk. Shrapnel flew like angry hornets, tearing into legs, torsos, and faces. Crystal Campbell, 29, a restaurant manager watching her friend run, crumpled to the ground, her body mangled beyond saving. 8-year-old Martin Richard, standing with his family, took the full force, his small frame shredded, blood pooling on the pavement. Lingzi Lu, a 23-year-old Boston University student from China, collapsed nearby, her dreams of a new life in America cut short. The second blast followed 12 seconds later, amplifying the chaos. Screams pierced the smoke, limbs littered the street, 281 people lay wounded, many facing amputations and a lifetime of scars. But what drove these brothers to turn a race of endurance into a slaughter? Was it rage bubbling under a facade of normalcy, or something colder, more calculated? The brothers slipped away as first responders rushed in. Dzhokhar headed back to his dorm at UMass Dartmouth. He hit the gym, played video games, even joined a party that night. Friends later said he seemed relaxed, cracking jokes over beer. Around midnight, he logged onto Twitter and posted, "Stay safe." The words hung there, ironic and chilling, as the city reeled from the deadliest attack on U.S. soil since 9/11. How could he blend back into campus life so seamlessly? Did the screams echo in his head, or had he already compartmentalized the horror? 3 days passed in the blur of investigation. April 18, 2013, 5:20 p.m. The FBI released grainy photos from surveillance cams, 2 suspects in baseball caps, backpacks in tow. The images went viral, tips flooded in, but the brothers didn't wait to be cornered. That night at 10:25 p.m., they ambushed MIT campus police officer Sean Collier, 26, sitting in his cruiser. They approached from behind, fired point blank through the window. Collier slumped over the wheel, dead from 5 bullets. Why target a cop on a quiet campus? Was it to grab his gun or just to escalate the terror? They moved fast. Minutes later, in Alston, they carjacked a Mercedes SUV at gunpoint. Driver Dun Meng, a 26-year-old Chinese immigrant, sat frozen as they forced him into the passenger seat. They drove aimlessly, boasting about the marathon bombs. "We just killed a cop," one said. At a gas station stop, Meng bolted when they stepped out, sprinting to another station and begging for help. He described the hijackers, the vehicle, clues that tightened the net. But what possessed them to keep going, to add robbery and kidnapping to the tally? Had the initial blast unleashed a chain reaction they couldn't stop? The manhunt intensified. Early April 19, 2013, around 12:45 a.m., police spotted the SUV in Watertown. Sirens wailed, tires screeched. The brothers stopped on Laurel Street, a quiet residential block. Gunfire erupted, over 200 rounds exchanged in minutes. Tamerlan hurled pipe bombs from the car, explosions lighting up the night. Bullets pinged off houses, residents huddled in basements. Tamerlan charged forward, firing wildly until cops tackled him. Wounded from shrapnel and shots, he lay cuffed on the ground. Then Dzhokhar, panicking behind the wheel, floored the accelerator. The SUV lurched, running over Tamerlan's body as it sped away. Tamerlan died at the hospital an hour later, his corpse riddled with injuries. Dzhokhar vanished into the darkness, ditching the vehicle blocks away. How did fraternal loyalty shatter in that split-second decision? Was it survival instinct, or had the bond already frayed? Dawn broke over a locked-down city. April 19, 2013 morning, Greater Boston shut down, schools closed, trains halted, 1 million people ordered to shelter in place. SWAT teams combed neighborhoods, helicopters thumped overhead, the curfew lifted at 6:00 p.m., residents emerging like survivors from a siege. But at 6:42 p.m. in a Watertown backyard, homeowner David Henneberry noticed something off. His boat, shrink-wrapped for winter, had a loose strap. He climbed the ladder, peeked inside, and saw blood, a body curled up. Dzhokhar lay there, weak from wounds, a pistol nearby. Henneberry called 911. Police swarmed, flashbangs popped, negotiators shouted. After hours of standoff, Dzhokhar emerged, hands up, bloodied from a throat wound that left him unable to speak. Paramedics rushed him away. What thoughts raced through his mind in that cramped hideout? Did he scribble regrets on the boat's walls, or justifications for the carnage? This sequence of blasts, bullets, and betrayal unfolded in just 4 days, transforming a festive marathon into a nightmare etched in American memory. But the events raised deeper questions. How did two immigrant brothers spiral into such destruction? What radical sparks ignited their path? In the sections ahead, we'll peel back the layers, their family roots, the radicalization, the courtroom battles, and the lingering shadows on death row, unraveling mysteries that still haunt Boston and beyond. The bombing's real raw chaos we just traced, from sidewalk explosions to the Watertown shootout. We're shifting to the brothers' background and radicalization, key for understanding how immigrant roots twisted into terror, sourced from family records and social media archives. Keep in mind these early signs hid behind a facade of normalcy. July 22, 1993, a boy named Dzhokhar Tsarnaev entered the world in Kyrgyzstan, or perhaps Dagestan in Russia. Records blurred the line. His father, Anzor, hailed from Chechen roots, his mother, Zubaydat, from Avar stock. The family navigated a turbulent landscape, ethnic tensions simmering in the post-Soviet shadows. By 2001, they shifted from Kyrgyzstan to Dagestan, seeking stability amid unrest. Then, in 2002, they landed in America on tourist visas. They claimed asylum, citing fears of persecution tied to Chechnya's conflicts. The U.S. granted it. They settled in Cambridge, Massachusetts, a working-class hub near Boston. Welfare checks helped them stand on their feet. By 2007, green cards arrived, marking them as permanent residents. Older brother Tamerlan joined in 2003, rounding out the clan. But in this new land of promise, how did old grievances take root anew? Did the asylum story mask deeper fractures, or was it just a fresh start gone sour? Building off that frantic manhunt and boat hideout we just traced, where Dzhokhar's run ended in blood and surrender, we're shifting to the brothers' early years in America. It's crucial because it reveals how immigrant dreams twisted into radical paths, pulled from immigration files and witness accounts. Keep in mind these details show a facade of normalcy that hid the storm brewing. Dzhokhar grew up in Cambridge. Friends saw him as easygoing, the type who fit in at parties. He smoked, blasted hip-hop tracks, chased girls. Politics? He steered clear in conversations, yet online cracks showed. On VK, the Russian social site, he listed Islam as his worldview priority. He shared videos of Syria's war zones, clips pushing Chechen independence. Twitter stayed lighter, posts about sports scores, late-night munchies. But in 2012, he dropped Quran quotes that extremists favored, lines about struggle and faith twisted into calls for action. Was this a teen testing edges, or signals of a mind shifting gears? How did casual posts mask a growing divide between his American life and inner turmoil? With that online duality in mind from his social feeds, now we'll track Dzhokhar's school days and slide toward trouble, key for spotting the normal kids unraveling. Sourced from yearbooks and transcripts, just note the achievements clashed with the failures that followed. He hit his stride at Cambridge Rindge in Latin school, graduated in 2011, stood out on the wrestling mat, captain material, pinned opponents with ease. A $2,500 scholarship came his way for athletic grit. That fall, he enrolled at UMass Dartmouth, majoring in arts and literature. Campus life beckoned, dorm parties, soccer games. But grades tanked. GPA dipped to 1.09 by sophomore year. Debt piled up, $20,000 owed. He juggled jobs, delivered pizzas. Friends noticed the drift, the skipped classes. What pulled him away from the books? Was college freedom a cover for deeper distractions, or just a young man losing focus amid family pressures? Tying back to that academic stumble we covered, let's unpack the family's radical turn, vital as it lit the fuse for the marathon plot, drawn from FBI probes and online archives. Keep in mind the online influences acted like slow poison without direct ties. Tamerlan led the charge. Around 2009, he dove into jihadist videos, sermons fueling anti-Western fire. By 2012, he flew to Dagestan for 6 months. Mountains and mosques deepened his views. Back home, he launched a YouTube channel, playlists crammed with extremist rants. Dzhokhar naturalized as a U.S. citizen on September 11, 2012, ironic date, papers stamped amid rising tensions. The brothers' self-taught bomb-making from Anwar al-Awlaki's clips, the al-Qaeda preacher's voice guiding their hands. Motive boiled down to U.S. wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Grievances over drone strikes, invasions. No solid jihad group links surfaced, just lone wolves in a digital den. But why al-Awlaki's words over others? Did family trips back east accelerate the hate, or was it all simmering resentment in an adopted homeland? Echoing the self-radicalization from those videos, now the pre-bomb red flags, important because they highlight missed warnings, gathered from federal reports, note the investigations that fizzled without action. 2011 brought scrutiny. Russia tipped the FBI. Tamerlan showed extremist leanings. Agents interviewed him, poked around. Nothing stuck. No terror ties found. Case closed. That same year, on September 11, a triple murder rocked Waltham. 3 men throats slit in an apartment, cash strewn, drugs untouched. Tamerlan knew them through boxing circles. Whispers pointed his way, but no charges. Bodies cooled, leads dried up. How did the FBI miss the dots? Was the Waltham bloodshed a trial run or unrelated violence in a volatile circle? Early 2013, whispers of a plan took shape in the Tsarnaev's Cambridge apartment. Tamerlan, fresh from his Dagestan trip, stockpiled fireworks for gunpowder, pressure cookers from a local store, nails and ball bearings from hardware aisles. Dzhokhar joined in, their hands steady as they followed al-Awlaki's online blueprints. Simple steps turning household items into death machines. No outside handlers pulled strings. It was just them. 2 brothers fueled by a twisted brew of resentment. They saw America's wars in Afghanistan and Iraq as crusades against Muslims, drones raining fire on villages, troops occupying lands far from Boston streets. Tamerlan ranted about it and mosques got kicked out for outbursts. The airpander moment is their target, a symbol of American spirit, packed with innocence. But what snapped the last thread of restraint? Was it Tamerlan's FBI brush-off or the Waltham ghosts haunting his past, pushing them to prove their jihad credentials in blood? Overall, the backdrop of migration, masks, and missed signals set the stage for the blast that shattered Boston. Questions linger. What flipped the switch from wrestler to bomber? In the parts to come, we'll chase the investigation's twists, the courtroom clashes, and death row's cold grip, unearthing secrets that still echo in the survivors' scars. Following that deep dive into the Tsarnaev's path from Chechnya to extremism, we're on to the investigation, arrest, trial, and sentencing. Vital as it shows how evidence built an ironclad case, pulled from FBI reports and court transcripts. Before the 911 call at 5:20 p.m. April 18, 2013, the FBI dropped the bomb. Grainy photos and videos of 2 suspects hit the wires. Backpacks on their shoulders, caps pulled low. They looked like any marathon spectators. Tips poured in, phones rang off the hook. Investigators pieced it together fast. The brothers had cooked up those pressure cookers at home. 5 more IEDs stashed with guns and ammo in their Cambridge pad. But the real clincher came later. Scrawled in pencil on the boat's fiberglass where Dzhokhar hid, he called the dead and maimed collateral damage, hailed Tamerlan as a martyr headed for paradise. Words that damned him, written in his own blood-smeared hand. How could a kid jot justifications like that while bleeding out? Was it defiance or a final grasp at some twisted glory? Building off that radical forge we just exposed, where online rants and family drifts built a bomb in secret, we're shifting to the investigation's early rush and the courtroom hammer that followed. Vital because it tracks how loose threads tightened into a noose, sourced from FBI reports and trial transcripts. Keep in mind these details reveal a system grinding toward justice amid chaos. The net closed quick after Henbury's 911 call. April 19, 2013 evening. Dzhokhar stumbled out of the boat, hands up, throat splashed open from a self-inflicted graze or shrapnel. Docs debated it. Ear shredded, neck dashed, thigh torn, skull cracked. Cops hauled him to Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, tubes snaking into his arms. No Miranda rights read at first. Public safety exception kicked in. The high-value interrogation group leaned in, pads ready. He couldn't talk, so he wrote. Admissions spilled out. The bombs, the cop killing, the carjack. He owned it all. No denials. What flipped him to confess in scribbles? Did the pain crack his resolve, or was it the weight of his brother's corpse pulling him under? Charges hit hard. April 22, 2013. From his hospital bed, Dzhokhar faced 30 federal counts. Weapons of mass destruction causing death, top of the list. Bombing a public spot, carjacking, gun crimes stacked up. Feds went all in, death penalty on the table. The case simmered for nearly 2 years. Pre-trial wrangling over venue changes, evidence dumps. Trial ticked off January 5, 2015, in Boston's federal courthouse. Judge George O'Toole presided, gavel steady. Defense played it smart, admitted the acts, but pinned the puppet strings on Tamerlan. Big Brother, the radical mastermind. Dzhokhar, the tag-along team. Prosecutors fired back with videos, survivor tales, boat notes. Jury bought none of the blame shift. April 8, 2015, guilty on every count. 30 zeros in the win column for the government. But why no mercy from the panel? Did the kid's blank stare in court seal it, or the sheer body count? Penalty phase dragged into May. Jury weighed the scales. Death for 17 capital charges possible. Mitigators rolled out. Dzhokhar's youth, Tamerlan's sway, family pleas. Victims countered with raw pain. Legs gone, lives shattered. May 15, 2015. The call came. Lethal injection for 6 counts. Needles in the arm. End of story. Dzhokhar spoke last. June 24, 2015, at formal sentencing. I am sorry for the lives I have taken, for the suffering I have caused. Words flat, eyes down. Judge shipped him off. Was that apology real regret or courtroom script? Did it ease any scars or just echo hollow? This investigative snare and judicial crush locked Dzhokhar's fate in iron. Questions hang. How did evidence bury him so deep? In the sections to follow, we'll stalk his death row days, the appeal mazes, and the ripples that still shake Boston, unearthing echoes of a terror that refuses to fade. Echoing the courtroom verdicts and death sentence we covered, we're exploring life behind bars appeals and the case's lasting impact. Essential because it reveals justice's drawn-out grip and societal scars, gathered from prison files and public polls. Note the rigid appeal trend underscores zero tolerance for terror. June 25, 2015. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev rolled into ADX Florence, the supermax fortress in Colorado's rocky isolation. Guards locked him in a concrete cell on the death row wing, solitary confinement, 23 hours a day staring at gray walls. Meals slid through slots, exercise in a caged yard under endless sky. No human touch, just echoes of distant doors clanging. He stayed there through the years, up to January 2026. His world shrunk to books, legal paths, and the hum of fluorescent lights. What does a mind do in that void? Does it replay the blasts or harden into something unbreakable? Building off that courtroom crush we just unpacked, where guilt stacked up and death loomed, we're shifting to the sentence's long shadow, life on death row. The appeal battles and the ripples that scarred a city. Crucial because it shows justice's grind against terror's echo. Sourced from federal dockets and survivor accounts, keep in mind these twists highlight a system's unyielding grip. Appeals kicked in hard. July 31, 2020, the First Circuit Court tossed the death sentence, vacated 3 counts, ordered a resentencing on juror bias claims, but March 4, 2022, the Supreme Court reinstated it, 6-3 vote, conservatives holding the line. January 2023, another push on social media tainting jurors. March 2024, remanded for bias probes. August 2024, fights to boot Judge O'Toole. July 2025, denial. August 2025, on-bank review sought. No pardon in Biden's December 2024 wave. Terrorism carved-out. This trend screamed rigidity. Higher courts clamp down, refusing to let terror slit the noose. What does it signal about America's stance on homegrown threats? A zero-tolerance wall or fear of looking soft? The blast birthed Boston Strong, a rallying cry on T-shirts and billboards. Crowds shared lockdown nightmares. PTSD gripping runners and bystanders. Debates raged. Tamerlan the puppet master. Dzhokhar the pawn. False flag conspiracies swirled online, claiming setups, public split on death versus life. Some victim families pushed for chains over needles, sparing endless appeals. It sparked talks on radicalization's roots, beefed up security at events. Lessons hit clear. Online echoes can arm lone wolves. Missed FBI flags cost lives. Resilience rebuilds communities. How do we spot the next fuse? The video ends here today. If you found this fitting and valuable, like and share it with others. Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more. Thanks. See you next time.